All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Anime Sub, the sub podcast that's not at the movies with Ty, Tim, and Matt. I had to think of the title, but the sub anime podcast where it's just me and occasionally other people who I will bring on to talk about anime. But at the moment, it's just me here talking to you live locally about anime. I was originally going to do like a much more formatted kind of review sort of podcast, but I realized that talking about anime leads to talking about other anime, which leads to talking about other anime, which leads to a side tangent about a story about a time that I watched another anime. So I've decided instead that I'm just going to record myself talking about anime. This is probably going to be one of the shorter podcasts, 15, 20 minutes or so. And I'm just going to kind of go in on what I've been watching recently and what I think you should watch. And, I also have a whole Q&A section that I'm going to do towards the end where I'm going to read out questions left to me by my community, which you can actually see in my Discord. No link present here, but there will be a link somewhere, I'm sure. Anyways, this season I've been watching a whole lot of anime. I'm not going to get into every single anime that I watch. I'm just going to get into the recent ones. And one of the recent ones that I watched was Rock is a Lady's Modesty, which I just finished a day or two ago. And I want to say that one's really, really, really good. I liked this one a lot. I had a great time watching it. I thought it was super funny. I thought the animation was sleek and nice. And I thought that it used CGI, the 3D CGI stuff during the concerts really well. And that's kind of a big compliment because I know, controversial opinion. Just kidding. I know this isn't a special opinion at all. CGI is a dangerous thing to start using in a, predominantly 2D anime. It works in some animes, like I think it works in, Beastars when they use CGI there. I think JoJo's can use CGI well at certain points. But for the most part, it's kind of a gamble. You're kind of gambling with, is it going to clash with the style too much, or is it going to work in the context of what we're showing here? And I think Rock is a Lady's Modesty uses the CGI during the concert and music sections really, really well. I think it looks great, and I think that it fits with the rest of what the anime is presenting style-wise. So I think this one's really well done. I was really, really impressed with it, and I thought the characters were super fun. I'm especially a fan of, I think Lilisa is a great protagonist. I think she's awesome. I like the double life thing that she is, leading throughout this show. I also liked Tina a lot. I thought she was an interesting character. I hope we get more screen time with her, whenever next season comes around. I did unfortunately search up, and, I was curious if there was going to be a second season, and a lot of the comments that I'm reading are saying that the manga hasn't gotten enough content to justify the next season, and also the mangaka that's working on this manga has gone on a hiatus, so we don't know when we're going to get more content in Rock is a Lady's Modesty, which is a shame, because I was really enjoying this. I understand artists needing to take a break, though, and I don't want artists to just work themselves to death just to keep putting out content, so I'm glad the author's taking a break, but at the same time, I was really looking forward to more of this show. Lilise is awesome. Really, really like her. And I like Tina as well, like I said. Oto's cool, but I think Oto suffers from her opinion is whatever the plot needs it to be at the time. There was a point towards, spoilers, by the way, for any anime that I talk about. So if you hear an anime title in this, just assume that I'm going to spoil parts of it. There was a part towards the end of it where Oto was like, oh, I never want to do concerts, blah, blah, blah. And it's never really something that, I feel was presented up front. We don't get a lot of Oto's in-head narration. We get to be in her head occasionally. We are a lot more in Lilisa's, but when we do get to be in her head, we get to know her thoughts on things. And I never felt like she had a problem with the performing in front of people. I thought she was fine with it, but then I think it was either the final episode or the episode before that, they're doing a concert, and Oto's like, I just kind of liked it when it was my own thing, so after this, I'm going to quit the band. I'm like, what the fuck? But even then, halfway through the concert, she's like, oh, never mind. Performing in front of people is awesome, and I actually can't wait to do this again. So it didn't end up mattering, but at the same time, I'm confused where this opinion suddenly came from. So that was a bit confusing on her part. I like Oto overall, though. I think she's fun. I think the most boring character is probably the white-haired lady whose name I've forgotten. Shiraya, I want to say. I may be saying that wrong, and if I am, I don't apologize. Get over it. So I thought that she was kind of uninteresting. I know that she showed up to be a foil to Lilisa to some degree, which I was fine with. But She doesn't really serve much purpose out of that. I think she has a couple of good comedic moments, but I do think ultimately she is the weakest link of all the characters this season. That's another thing. There are a couple of fan servicey points during this anime, but it never got to the point that I was bothered by it. It would come, I would be annoyed by it, and then it would pass, and then it would go, and we'd get back to the narrative. So I can appreciate that the fan service was kept to a minimum. I think one of the other things that kind of bothered me about this one, and this is kind of a moot point, honestly, because the dub, I watched this dub, by the way. I'm a pretty strict dub watcher, so I watched this dubbed, and I thought that the dub was really good. I thought that the dub was fantastic at points. I did feel that Lisa's VA could get kind of flat at points where she didn't need to, and I think that that's just a result of her playing a pretty angry character who has to yell all the time. So yeah, you're going to have a couple of points where maybe you can't deliver lines consistently at the energy that you need to. So I understand that completely. I just felt that she fell flat at a couple points throughout the show, which didn't drag it down at all. I think she still turns in a phenomenal performance, and I think she's great. And getting back to the CGI stuff, the music scenes are fantastic. I love the music scenes. I think they convey the emotions that they're looking to convey, and I think that they're animated in a way that really, they're really punchy. Very punchy music scenes. Really, really enjoyable to watch, and it keeps you engaged. It almost feels like, because I know that this is not a shonen anime, obviously, but it does feel like the music scenes are where the fight scenes would be in a shonen anime. The fight scenes are the height of the episode, and I think they're done really well. I love them. Getting back to the CGI conversation, I recently, to compare this to another anime that I watched recently, or tried to watch recently, those of you out there that have watched or tried to watch One Dance know exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about how bad the CGI was in One Dance. And I love Madhouse's stuff. I think Madhouse has made a lot of great stuff over the years. They're just kind of hit and miss sometimes. One Dance was a miss. I started that one, watched the first episode, saw the first couple of people dancing in the episode, and I thought to myself, ooh boy, that is a dance that they're doing. It is definitely a dance, and yeah. And then they showed the main character girl later on doing her dance, and all of it just looks like Roblox avatars. It looks like VR chat stuff. It's really bad. I understand what they were trying to do, because it's done really well. The music scenes in Rock His Lady's Modesty, they do the CGI really well here, and I understand what they were trying to do in One Dance. It's just not good. It's not good. And I also want to chime in on, a lot of people were saying, because of how bad the animation was in One Dance, a lot of people were saying, oh, this is AI. They use AI to animate this stuff. Not everything that's animated badly is AI. And I dare even say, I think the stuff in One Dance is just, it's humanly bad. It's very humanly bad. Like, it's not, I don't think it has anything to do with AI. I really don't think that that's anything to do with that. So, yeah, I just to summarize, overall, I really loved Rock His Lady's Modesty, and I look forward to a season 2 when we get one, and I hope we do get one, because this is a really good show. I was super impressed with it. I had a fun time watching it, and it was wild. Initially, I'll be honest, in the pilot episode, I initially thought that maybe this was going to be too gimmicky for me to get into, too gimmicky, too leaning into the coming of age music anime. I thought it was going to be a little bit too much of that, and I thought I was going to drop off of it pretty quickly. But once I got probably episode 2 or 3 was where I went, okay, no, this is actually pretty fire. I'm actually loving what I'm seeing. I think the characters are awesome. I think everyone's really awesome. The animation's great. Like I said, I keep praising the animation, but I do think the animation is really stellar in the show. When they're not doing the CGI stuff, there are some shots, some frames in this show that just look damn fantastic. I think the character design's really nice. It does give off, when you see Lisa in the first episode, seeing her standing around with, the background girls, basically, you do think to yourself, oh boy, I wonder who the protagonist could be, as Lisa has these incredibly long blonde and green hair and stuff. So she does, she gives off the, oh, I wonder, the stand user could be anyone, kind of vibe. So I thought that was kind of funny, and it's kind of a small comment that I made. And yeah, I liked Rocket League's Modesty. I thought it was really well done. I definitely think you should check it out if you get the chance. If you enjoy like music anime, it's kind of slice of lifey in a way. I think this one's really, really fun and really enjoyable. So I would definitely give it a look. Give it a look if you get the chance. The other anime I want to talk about today is going to be a bit shorter because this one's still ongoing. I'm actually in the second season of this show. So spoilers ahead for Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill. I watched the first season, loved it. Then the second season started coming out right after I finished the first season, so I was really excited to get back into it. We're on episode 11 out of 12, I believe, so the next episode should be the last episode of the season. I'm really impressed with this show. When I started trying to get back into anime, Hammy's probably listening to this, but Hammy's a big isekai fan. So Hammy, you made me watch some isekai that I was like, oh, this sucks. And I found out, Hammy did recommend me good isekai, by the way. We won't talk about the wrong way to use healing magic in this episode, but it is an incredible anime, and I will talk about that one in a future episode. Campfire Cooking, though, this show has been so much fun, but it also highlights my biggest issue with a lot of the isekai, and that is that them being isekai tends not to matter at all, and it is especially the case in Campfire Cooking, despite the fact that obviously his skill that he has, where he can kind of pull cooking stuff from this shopping mart. You know, he can buy food items and cooking utensils and all this stuff from this website thing and pull it into the other world. That does tie him to his original world, but I don't feel like he ever addresses the fact that he got isekai really ever again. He doesn't give a fuck about it. We never talk about what his old life was like. It doesn't seem like he really gives a shit. But casting that aside, if I just look at this as kind of a fantasy anime where a guy has a really niche and really gimmicky kind of power, this one is really, really charming. I actually do like our main character. I can't remember his name to save my life right now. I actually remember his companions, Fenrir and Sui, and the dragon better. I can't remember the dragon's name right now either, so that's kind of embarrassing. But this is a really charming. This one definitely gives slice of life because they're not narratively setting out on a quest to do anything in particular except kill enemies and level up and eat awesome food. So that's kind of what the bulk of this one has been about. But I don't know. I'm in between on it where I'm not sure if we are going to narratively eventually head anywhere or if we are just going to like stay in the same place the whole time. So it looks like the season 2 is ending up where it kind of looks like we're about to head off and venture out to sea and do all of this kind of stuff. So I think that heading that direction is going to be interesting and fun, and I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see where the show ends up going, but I've been really enjoying this one, and I think this one's by Mappa, who are the same guys that did Chainsaw Man and another show. Oh, I think they did the final. I'm gonna say Attack on Titan. I didn't like Attack on Titan, so I'm not gonna bring that one up. Sorry, Attack on Titan fans. But Mappa's done a really masterful job here. I love the animation here. I think that they've done a great job. I think that all of the characters are really charming. Again, I'm watching this dubbed, obviously, so gonna see where that one ends up heading. Season 2 is shaping up to be pretty much the same as season 1. I feel like they made a bit more strides as far as like, what do you call it? I feel like they've made a bit more strides as far as like character development goes, because I do feel like he was way too whiny for like the entire first season. This one, he's kind of whiny, but not as whiny as the first season. So I think we're making progress as far as the protagonist goes in this show. Yeah, anyways, it's just a beautiful show. And on top of that, I think it's going to be a great place for me to garner recipes from. I think a lot of the recipes in this show look really awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing them give more recipes and trying the recipes in real life, because they're really, I think this is definitely a cooking show. If you haven't caught on yet, Campfire Cooking, you know, it's in the title, but Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill is a cooking show at its core, and the food does look delicious. There's been one time they made a burger in one of the episodes where I thought that burger looked aggressive. It looked like it was too much. I don't think I'd be able to eat it. But every other dish that they made during this show has looked fantastic. And I'm quite enjoying, like, how do I put this? I'm quite enjoying just the kind of carefree nature of this anime. There's no real stakes. I never really feel like anyone's in danger. I feel like Sui and Fenrir and the dragon always have a hold on things, and our adventurer friend's going to be okay, especially now that he has the sword that Sui gave him. I think he's going to be just fine. So it's really just a great anime to kick back to and kind of relax. I never feel like there's any high tension or anything going on in the show. There's a couple of comedic moments that make it seem like it's tense, but it's overall just really fun, and I think that it handles what it is in a really tactful and really just a nice way. Like if you wanted something like, I'm thinking of like Yuru Camp, for example, something that's laid back and you can kind of just kick it on, relax to it, maybe play a video game while you watch it. Like campfire cooking is definitely like an anime that you can just kick back to, kind of brain dead, and you don't really have to pay that much attention to it. But if you do pay attention to it, you're going to get something good out of it. So I really enjoyed campfire cooking. I think you should check it out. And now I actually want to get on to the Q&A section, which is where I let my Discord ask me questions in the anime degeneracy chat. So the first few questions are going to come from Star, and I'm going to address each of them and try to answer each of them. What is the makings of a legendary anime is their first question. And that's a tough one to tackle, because I feel for an anime to be legendary, I just feel everything has to work. You can't really lack in any department, right? Like you've got to have fantastic music. You've got to have fantastic voice acting. The visuals have to be great. The story has to be well written. The story has to flow like well narratively. Legendary anime is just, when I think of legendary anime, ones that come to mind immediately, I'm thinking Cowboy Bebop. I'm thinking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm thinking Samurai Champloo. I'm thinking The Night is Short, Walk On Girl. I'm thinking some Ghibli films, which Ghibli is not a great bar for anime, but it is anime at the end of the day. It's not comparable to like the average anime, but that's what makes it legendary. Legendary anime stands out. Perfect Blue is another one that I'm going to throw in there. I just think legendary anime, in order to make one, everything has to work, and you have to have really thought it out, and you have to have a really stellar story. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard to do. It's hard to have all those things work at once, but there are several anime that do it, and they do it well. So legendary anime, you just have to have everything working in tandem. Their next question was, do you have a dream voice acting role in an anime dub reboot IP? Honestly, I think they should let me voice the protagonist in Campfire Cooking, because I think I would do an awesome job at it, and I would love to play that character. No, I think if they ever do another Devil May Cry anime, and when I say Devil May Cry anime, I'm not referring to the Netflix one, I'm referring to the one from 2007. If they ever do another Devil May Cry anime, I would love to star in that. I would love to play like a demon. I would love to gravitate more towards like monstrous roles rather than playing like the handsome protag. I want to be like a creature that's like, I want to like make weird guttural noises and things of that nature. So that's what I would like to do. And if possible, yeah. That's what I'd lean towards. I want to be the creature. I want to be the creature in Alien. I want to be the creature in some horror anime that just makes weird, awful, guttural noises the whole time. Take on live action versions of animes, hot or not. That really depends. And that really depends on, this kind of comes back to the legendary anime conversation, but it depends on if they're making the live action for the right reasons, and if the people making the live action actually love the source material that they're making the live action of. Because when I think of live action, I think of the atrocious age of it happening, where like we got like M. Night Shyamalan's Avatar: The Last Airbender. There was the live action Death Note and the live action Dragon Balls and all of that kind of stuff. But as we get closer to the modern day, there's been quite a few live action adaptations where I feel like they have loved the source material. I feel like if they care about the source material, then it's going to be really awesome. For example, I would say Alice in Borderlands. I think that it's actually a manga adapted to live action, but it's still the same thing. Alice in Borderlands is awesome. I think that they do a great job of translating that to live action while still making it feel like it's its anime manga counterpart, right? Even though it's live action, I feel like I'm watching something anime manga-esque, right? That's what can make them work. I even dare say that the One Piece live action is one of the greatest live action adaptations ever. And I've only watched a little bit of it, and I've only watched a little bit of One Piece too. But the live action adaptation of One Piece it knows what it's doing, and it's doing it really well. So it really depends on if they care about the source material or not. The live action Cowboy Bebop, I think it has some fun ideas, but the problem is they're gravitating too far away from the source material while still trying to adapt the source material. And so in that sense, I think that that's bad. I think if you're going to adapt something to live action, you have to take all the things that made it great. What made Cowboy Bebop great was not the fact that it's anime. It's actually, the themes, the narrative, the way that the characters act, all that kind of stuff. So whenever you we're just going to move this to live action and we're just going to give it, generic anime acting and generic anime traits and stuff, it's no longer hot, right? It's not. It becomes not whenever they choose not to adapt it faithfully. So that's what I would say. Next up, we have a question from Avi. What do you like the central themes of the anime you watch to be? I don't really have anything that I really gravitate towards. I think I have things that I'm interested in currently that I want to see in anime. For example, I just started watching 91 Days because I've been on a real mobster kick recently. I've been watching a lot of documentaries at work and stuff. So I decided to pick up 91 Days because I wanted to see something mobster related. And I wanted to see if there was a good mobster related anime out there. So I started watching 91 Days. 91 Days has been good so far, but I just kind of pick and choose, what am I interested in at the time? Am I interested in isekai? Okay, then I'm going to do isekai. I'm going to watch Campfire Cooking. I'm going to watch The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. And there's going to be some isekai in there that I eventually drop because I think they suck, and I'm not going to talk about those today. But I don't really have any, things that I just like strong character. I like well-written characters. That's really the only thing that I'm looking for when I'm watching an anime. Well-written characters and a good dub. Because if a dub sucks, okay, I will talk about one isekai that I started watching that sucked. Let me get the name of it real quick because I don't have it on hand. I have it in my dropped section on my anime list. It is not that one. Oh, Loner Life in Another World. So Loner Life in Another World, I started to watch. I think I maybe got 2 episodes. No, 1 episode. I got 1 episode in, and the protagonist's voice was so fucking bad and terrible that I decided I can no longer watch this. So, yeah. I don't really gravitate towards any central themes. I'll watch anything. I'll watch anything as long as it's good, as long as it's well written, and I think that the characters are compelling and the narrative keeps me interested. That's all I'm really looking for at the end of the day. So as long as the anime has that, that's all I really need. Next up, what do you think of this GIF? So what the GIF appears to be, Smiley, I see an anime girl drinking Jack Daniels and then shaking their head fervently after drinking some Jack Daniels. So I'll give you my opinion on Jack Daniels here. It's not my favorite whiskey. It's all right. It's something that if someone hands me a shot of Jack Daniels, I'm not going to turn them down, but I'm also going to say, where's the good stuff? I'm not a huge fan of Jack Daniels. I can understand why some people are. There is the Coke Jack that I think is really good, like the wine cooler Coke Jack. I think that one's pretty fire. We're getting really off topic here. I don't have I don't have any segues that I can do to talk about anime after this, so I don't know. I don't really know what I can do here. Not sponsored by Jack Daniels, by the way. Not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. But if you guys want to leave comments suggesting animes to me, letting me know what you thought of the anime that I talked about today, telling me what animes I should talk about next time. I do have a My Anime list so that you can keep up with what I'm watching at the time. I want to thank you for listening to this first episode of Anime Sub, the solo anime podcast that I am launching on this channel officially so that you can watch me talk about anime. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you'll have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time when we Anime Sub. Bye, everybody.